Episode 57. Sandcastle? Sounds fun. To their surprise, Tanhua immediately agreed, already crouching down to scoop up sand. She eagerly started building alongside Nan Shen. Seeing them so absorbed in their childish activity, Mi Shu and Ren Wan slowly backed away, pretending they weren't associated with them. They couldn't handle this second-hand embarrassment anymore. Tanhua happily dug into the sand around her legs, shaping it into a grand castle. But just as she was fully immersed in her work, she suddenly felt a sharp pain on her finger. Sting. Gaia. Tanhua couldn't help but scream as she quickly retracted her hand after feeling the sharp pain, surprising Nan Shen. What happened? Are you okay? Nan Shen stood up and rushed toward Tanhua when he heard her sudden outburst. A crab. A crab is clamping my hand, Tanhua cried, waving her hand frantically to show a tiny crab hanging onto her finger with its claws. Nan Shen was momentarily stunned. He had assumed she had hurt herself on a sharp clamshell, but a little crab clamping her finger? What kind of situation was this? Nan Shen couldn't hold back his laughter as he watched Tanhua struggle with teary eyes, trying to free herself from the crab's grip. Effed! Nan Shen clutched his stomach, feeling breathless from laughing too hard. Tears welled up at the corners of his eyes. Tanhua finally managed to shake the crab off her finger. But when she looked up and saw Nan Shen laughing uncontrollably, she instantly realized he was laughing at her. Was this funny to him? She had just been pinched by a crab, and this man was laughing at her. Tanhua's eyes welled up again, but this time out of frustration. It wasn't her fault there was a crab buried in the sand when she tried to dig. You. Tanhua pointed her red finger at Nan Shen, feeling utterly wronged. Her raised voice made Nan Shen, who had been laughing non-stop, suddenly freeze. He had made a grave mistake. Why had he laughed? He should have been showing concern instead. And no. Tanhua. It's not like that. Nan Shen took a step closer. But Tanhua huffed, turning her head away in anger. What was wrong with this man? He saw someone get hurt, and that was his reaction? Her finger still hurt. I'm leaving. Tanhua pouted, crossing her arms as she stomped away from Nan Shen, fuming over his insensitivity. First, the frisbee incident. Now this. This man was impossible. Wait. Nan Shen immediately chased after her, grabbing her wrist to stop her from walking away. His plan to win her over hadn't even begun to work. How could she just leave like that? Okay, fine. He admitted it. It was his fault. But he really couldn't help it. Anyone would have laughed if they had seen the same scene. Tanhua was just too adorable with her teary eyes, and that tiny crab dangling from her finger. Even now, he had to hold back another laugh, if only to avoid upsetting her further. What? Tanhua snapped, trying to yank her wrist free. But before she could react, Nan Shen did something completely unexpected. He lifted her injured hand and, without hesitation, pressed her finger gently to his lips, soothing the pain with a soft touch. Tanhua froze, eyes widening in shock. What are you doing? Her face flushed red from her forehead to her neck. She could feel the warmth of his breath against her skin, and this was way too embarrassing. Nan Shen casually released her hand and pulled out a small bandage from his pocket. Carefully, he took her finger again and wrapped it up. His expression remained innocent, unaware of how flustered Tanhua had become. All done. Nan Shen smiled, expecting her to forgive him. But instead he was met with a face that was red with both anger and embarrassment. Huh? What did he do wrong this time? He was just trying to be caring. Tanhua's whole body trembled, not from pain, but from sheer frustration. This man was unbelievable. Just as Nan Shen was about to ask what was wrong, Tanhua suddenly raised her foot. Stomp. Gaia. Nan Shen yelped in pain as she stomped down on his foot with all her strength, leaving his toes red and swollen. You deserved it, Tanhua huffed before turning away. Nan Shen could only hop on one foot, wincing as he watched her walk off. Wait, Tanhua, wait. He stumbled after her, limping as he tried to keep up. None of his plans were working. Nan Shen kept chasing Tanhua with one leg, begging for her forgiveness. He had to think of another plan to make her forget her anger. Tanhua, how about we play the watermelon game? Still limping after her, Nan Shen suddenly suggested another activity. Watermelon game? Smashing watermelon? Tanhua raised an eyebrow. Her interest piqued. She rarely visited the beach, and when she did, it was always a private one. Her parents never played games like this with her, nor did they let her stay at the beach for long. She had always wanted to experience what she saw in dramas, playing beach volleyball, building sandcastles, burying friends in the sand, smashing watermelons, or even surfing, but she had never done any of these things with friends. So when Nan Shen suggested the watermelon smashing game, she was willing to listen, even though she was still mad at him. Yes. We'll play with Mishu and Ren Yuan too. How about it? Nan Shen beamed, trying to coax Tan Hua into playing so she would forget her anger. Fine. Who's going to buy the watermelon? Now that she had the chance to play, there was no way she would let the opportunity slip away. She could finally experience this game just like in the dramas and comics she loved. Me. I'll buy it now. Nan Shen's face lit up when Tan Hua agreed. He immediately ran off, still slightly limping, to make arrangements. Of course, the great Nan Shen wouldn't buy the watermelon himself. I need 4 watermelons. ASAP. He ordered his men, who were supposed to be guarding him on this trip, but were now being sent on an errand instead. 5 minutes later, Nan Shen received the watermelons from his men and innocently strolled back to Tan Hua, as if he had bought them himself. Thud. Now everything's ready. Let's call Mishu and Ren Yuan, Nan Shen said, placing the watermelons on the sand and asking Tan Hua to watch over them while he went to find their friends. Okay. Seeing the watermelons right in front of her, Tan Hua couldn't hide her excitement. Her eyes sparkled as she eagerly waited for Nan Shen to return with Ren Yuan and Mishu. 10 minutes later. Hey, here's the bat, Mishu said as she arrived, carrying a wooden bat she had borrowed from the hotel. That was why she and Ren Yuan had taken longer to get there. Oh, thanks. Wait, do you guys have a blindfold? Tan Hua asked, her excitement growing when she saw them arrive. They could finally start the game. She had been waiting for this moment for so long. Nan Shen went to get the blindfold, Mishu said with a smile, showing Tan Hua the bat she had brought. Just as she finished speaking, Nan Shen arrived with a blindfold in hand. Let's start. You go first, Nan Shen said, letting Tan Hua have the first turn since she seemed the most excited. Oh. Okay. Tan Hua trembled with anticipation as Nan Shen helped her put on the blindfold. As soon as it covered her eyes, the world around her turned completely dark. Gripping the bat tightly, Tan Hua swallowed nervously as she listened to Nan Shen and the others giving her directions to find the watermelon. Of course, not all the guidance would be reliable. She had to be careful. Move forward. Nan Shen snickered as he led Tan Hua toward a random person who was sleeping on the sand. The stranger was wearing sunglasses and had a fashion magazine covering his face, so Nan Shen had no idea who he was. But that didn't matter, it was just some random person. His plan? Lead Tan Hua to accidentally hit the stranger instead of the watermelon. Nan Shen's mischievous side kicked in as he plotted another playful prank. He had completely forgotten that the purpose of this game was to make Tan Hua forget her anger. Turn left, turn left? Mishu chimed in, playing along with the prank but mishing in just enough real instructions to make it believable. Go straight, Ren Yuan added in his usual cold tone. He wasn't about to repeat Nan Shen word for word, so he adjusted the phrasing slightly. 30 seconds later. There, Tan Hua, smash it. Following the directions, Tan Hua confidently swung the bat, thinking she was about to hit the watermelon. Smack. Unfortunately, she had missed the watermelon by an inch. The bat landed directly on the sleeping stranger's face. Gaia, ah. The person who got hit by Tan Hua's bat screamed, making Tan Hua subconsciously back away as she removed her blindfold. Someone was screaming? But she smashed the watermelon. Wait, don't tell her the thing she smashed wasn't a watermelon, but a person? Mishu and the others immediately stepped back as well, realizing their teasing had actually made someone a victim. Nan Shen had planned for Tan Hua to hit the stranger, but he didn't expect her to hit the person's face. He thought it would land on their stomach or another part, but, alas, now Tan Hua had accidentally hit someone. This wasn't going to end well. Ouch. Hey, why did you suddenly hit M? The stranger groaned in pain, removing the magazine from his face, along with his sunglasses, about to scold Tan Hua, when he suddenly froze. Not only him, but even Tan Hua, Mishu, and the others also froze, their expressions filled with shock. Of course, Ren Yuan still maintained his usual cold expression, but even he was surprised deep down. Tan Hua, isn't that? Nan Shen, why is that man here? It's you? The man trembled, pointing his finger at Tan Hua, who had now regained her composure, though she was still a little surprised. Shen Ling, what are you doing here? Tanhua felt guilty seeing the red mark on his face from her bat, but at the same time, she felt somewhat relieved. The one she hit was Shenling. If it had been someone else, they might have gotten into trouble, but since it was Shenling, everything would be fine. Tanhua. Shenling was stunned, realizing the person who hit him was someone he knew well. His gaze shifted between Tanhua, who was dressed as a girl, and Nanshen, whose expression had darkened. He clearly wasn't happy to see Shenling here. Yeah, it's me. Now, why are you here? Tanhua didn't believe in fate, but she thought it was quite the coincidence to meet Shenling in this place. Didn't I tell you I had a photo shoot session in Hawaii? It's my break time now, Shenling said, glaring at Nanshen before flashing a sweet smile at Tanhua. He couldn't stand seeing that arrogant CEO here. Also, why was Tanhua dressed as a girl? This had to be Nanshen's doing. Noticing Shenling's glare, Nanshen didn't back down. He raised his chin slightly, looking as arrogant as ever. He knew exactly what this man was thinking. What? Jealous that Tanhua was dressed as a girl while staying by his side? He had already cleared up the rumors between them, so Shenling shouldn't even dream of taking Tanhua away. So your photo shoot session is here? What a coincidence. Tanhua smiled innocently, oblivious to the silent battle between Nanshen and Shenling. She simply felt happy that Shenling was here. Wouldn't this mean she had one more person to play with? Besides, Shenling was practically family now, so how could she not be happy to see him? But Tanhua's innocent smile only irritated Nanshen further. He had worked so hard to make her forgive him, yet this man appeared out of nowhere and effortlessly made her smile. Gah! Tanhua hadn't smiled at him even once during their vacation today. Yeah, my hotel is our hotel, Shenling nodded, smirking at Nanshen. Now, he no longer had to bow his head in shame, he was earning money on his own. To think a man like him had to go this far if things continued like this, he might just want to flip the world upside down. Our hotel? That's where we're staying too. What a coincidence. Tanhua giggled, happy to know they were in the same hotel. Nanshen, however, didn't share the sentiment. He gritted his teeth, his fists clenching in frustration, which startled Renyuan, who stood beside him. He had never seen Nanshen act like this toward anyone before. Normally, Nanshen was polite on the surface, but ruthless behind the scenes. Who was this man to make him react this way? Maybe Mishu knew something. Let's eat lunch first, Mishu quickly suggested, sensing the tension. She had taken one look at Nanshen's expression and, for some unknown reason, decided to intervene, using lunch as an excuse. She had no idea what was happening, but Nanshen looked scary. Also, she never knew Tanhua was acquainted with the rising model under Nanshen's company. Could there be something between them? Who knew? Okay, let's go. Feeling hungry herself, the clueless Tanhua immediately dragged Shenling away for lunch. At the same time, Nanshen shot a sharp glare at Shenling, as if he would burn him alive if he had superpowers. He had wanted to fire Shenling from his company for a while now, but he couldn't, because of the man's rising popularity. Just wait, Shenling by sunset. He would make his move, and Tanhua would be his soon. After lunch. Okay, Tanhua, I have to go now. My photo shoot session will start soon. It was 1 p.m. and Shenling had to leave quickly for his photo shoot session. His break time was already over. All right, good luck with your work. Tanhua felt a little sad seeing Shenling leave, but it was fine. She still had Nanshen and the others here. Bye. Unlike before, Nanshen surprisingly had a bright expression as he waved at Shenling, who was already walking away from the beach. Of course, he was happy. That troublemaker was finally gone. Hey, let's go back to the hotel. I want to take a bath. Seeing that Shenling had left, Renyuan casually suggested to Nanshen that they return to the hotel. His clothes were wet and covered in sand, and he felt uncomfortable. He needed a bath. But Nanshen glanced at Tanhua, who was talking with Mishu. There were still 5 hours left before sunset at 6 p.m. Should they go back to the hotel first and return later? All right, but I want us to come back here at 6 p.m. I want to see the sunset. Nanshen sighed, patting Renyuan's shoulder. His own clothes were still neat and clean since he hadn't surfed or played in the water. But Renyuan had surfed with Mishu earlier, so their clothes were definitely a mess. Don't worry, I plan to bring Mishu here to watch the sunset too. Renyuan walked over to where Mishu and Tanhua were, informing them that they would head back to the hotel for now and return later to watch the sunset. Oh, what a pity. Tanhua felt a little disappointed. She hadn't played volleyball or buried someone in the sand yet, but since the others wanted to leave, she couldn't say no. Our hotel. Yes, Mom, I just arrived. A man's voice could be heard over the phone as Nan Shen and his group arrived at the hotel lobby. The man wore a black cap and sunglasses, making it difficult to see his face clearly. All right. Bye. The man grumbled before ending the call with a sigh. Huff, I want to take a bath. My shoe walked beside Tanhua, complaining about how her clothes were wet and dirty. Yeah, we'll be at your room soon. Tanhua giggled, keeping her eyes on Mishu as they walked. At the same time, the man who had just finished his call was heading out of the hotel while scrolling through his phone right as Tanhua and the others were heading in. Tap, tap, tap. I ruined your clothes, Tanhua. They're all muddy now, Mishu continued complaining as she looked down, unaware that someone was walking toward her. Both Mishu and the man were too distracted to see each other, but Tanhua noticed him at the last second. My shoe. Watch out, Tanhua had just started to warn her when my shoe collided with the man, making both of them nearly fall to the ground. Brah. My shoe. Ren Yuan, who had just grabbed a towel from somewhere, immediately rushed over and caught my shoe before she could fall. The man, however, wasn't so lucky. He landed hard on the floor, his cap falling off as he hit the ground. Prack. Ouch! The man groaned, rubbing his sore backside. He had been busy managing some company matters over the phone when he suddenly bumped into someone. It was already fortunate that his phone hadn't broken, but he was still frustrated. Who had the nerve to crash into him? Hey, you. Don't you have eye? The man started to scold the person who bumped into him, taking off his sunglasses to get a better look. But the moment he saw who it was, he froze. Nan Shen also froze. Tanhua's eyes widened. Lan Yanjin? Tanhua? Nan Shen, Tanhua, and the man who turned out to be someone they knew shouted in unison. Why was Lan Yanjin here? Nan Shen, whose mood had improved after Shen Ling's departure, suddenly felt his mood plummet the moment he saw the face of someone he despised. This man definitely knew Tanhua's true identity. That meant he was a serious threat. So why on earth was he here? What are you doing here? Lan Yanjin swept his gaze across the group, his eyes finally landing on Tanhua, who was still dressed in her girl appearance. How did he keep running into her like this? The last time he saw her like this, it had thrown him off completely. I'm on vacation with everyone. And why are you here? Tanhua raised an eyebrow, noticing that Lan Yanjin looked as handsome as ever. Oh wait. He was even wearing Louvre brand clothing well, at least the shoes and pants. Well, I'm here for business. Lan Yanjin couldn't say that he was here because a new brand was threatening his company, and that exact brand belonged to Tanhua. Of course, Lan Yanjin didn't yet know that Tanhua was the owner, but he simply didn't want to admit that a brand under Nan Shen's company was causing him trouble while Nan Shen himself was right here. For some reason, he didn't want to look bad in front of Tanhua. Back in the city, Nan Shen's company had heavily promoted the brand, making it popular overseas. As a result, Nan Shen's company had risen to another level, and it had become a serious threat to Lan Yanjin's business. Now, everyone was talking about Nan Shen's company, along with the brand, and within another month, it was likely to dominate the fashion industry. This meant Nan Shen's company would gain even more benefits. Because of this brand, the labels under Lan Yanjin's management were struggling. Every customer demanded Louvre, yet his company hadn't secured a deal with them. He had to find out who the owner of this brand was and, if possible, bring them over to his company. Oh, I see. Tanhua nodded, understanding that Lan Yanjin was a busy man, unlike a certain CEO standing behind her. She never saw Nan Shen working hard at all. Of course, she had no idea that Nan Shen frequently worked overtime. He was just so good at pretending to be fine that no one noticed his exhaustion. Tanhua continued chatting with Lan Yanjin about fashion, when suddenly someone grabbed her wrist and pulled her away. You have business, right? Hurry up and go. Seeing Tanhua still talking to Lan Yanjin, Nan Shen couldn't help but drag her behind him. Tanhua was in her female appearance now. What if Lan Yanjin fell for her, just like he had? Lan Yanjin was wealthier than him. What if Tanhua chose him instead? Most women would choose a man with a better financial situation. That thought alone made Nan Shen panic. He was working hard to elevate his company to an international level with Tanhua's brand. He wanted to at least be on the same playing field as Lan Yanjin to cure his own inferiority complex. But if Lan Yanjin started pursuing Tanhua now, who knew what would happen? Hey, why so aggressive? I'm staying at this hotel too, so we'll be seeing each other often. Lan Yanjin had just started admiring Tan Hua in her feminine appearance when Nan Shen interrupted, completely ruining the moment. Why did this guy always act like a jealous cat every time they met? Lan Yanjin hadn't yet realized that he was slowly falling for Tan Hu. So, without much thought, he casually walked away, leaving Nan Shen behind, who was still glaring at him. Good. Stay away from Tan Hua. Seeing that Lan Yanjin was gone, Tan Hua and the others returned to their rooms to relax and freshen up until it was time for sunset. At the beach. You go that way. I'll go over here. At this moment, Nan Shen was whispering to Ren Yuan, asking him to take Mishu for a walk far away from him and Tan Hua. Ren Yuan didn't know what Nan Shen was up to, but since he also wanted some time alone with Mishu, he agreed immediately. Now, let's watch the sunset. Nan Shen slowly approached Tan Hua, who had changed into a short-sleeved, one-piece dress. We're not going with Ren Yuan and Mishu? Tan Hua frowned as she saw Ren Yuan dragging Mishu away. She knew Mishu had already realized she had feelings for him, even though he was dense. But still, being left alone with Nan Shen. She was nervous. Oh, my Shu, don't leave her like this. Come on, the view will be beautiful. Nan Shen suddenly took Tan Hua's hand and led her toward a large coral reef. He helped her sit down facing the ocean. But I'm a boy. I'm not that interested in watching the sunset. As the sun began to set, Tan Hua felt her heart race. Okay, she was currently pretending to be a boy. She had to act like one. Shh, you're acting as my girlfriend, so watching the sunset together is perfectly normal. Nan Shen, with his quick thinking, instantly came up with an excuse to make Tan Hua stay. The truth was, which girl didn't like beautiful things? He was sure Tan Hua would enjoy the sunset. All right. Without realizing it, Tan Hua kept holding on to Nan Shen's hand as she turned to watch the sky shift into golden hues. It was beautiful. This was her first time watching a sunset like this. While Tan Hua was lost in the breathtaking view, her heart slowly calming down, Nan Shen was preparing for something much bigger. Here we go. It was time to confess. At this time, Tan Hua still didn't know that a certain CEO next to her was about to confess. She had completely forgotten about her plan to make Nan Shen fall for her, and was simply enjoying the sunset instead. The view is really beautiful. Tan Hua gasped in awe, mesmerized by the golden sky, the reddish sun, and the vast ocean stretching before her. This view was more breathtaking than any painting. Well, it is beautiful. Now, Tan Hu, listen to me. Nan Shen cleared his throat before slowly taking Tan Hua's hand, startling her. Her heart pounded. Wait, what was Nan Shen doing? Was this part of an act? But there was no one around, no paparazzi, no audience. So why was he doing this? Tan Hua, being as oblivious as ever, had no idea what Nan Shen was thinking, and she panicked. Seeing her reaction just from him holding her hand, Nan Shen couldn't help but chuckle. This girl was too adorable. Be big, bro. What are you doing? Tan Hua's mind was spinning from a simple touch. Her heart had been racing for a while now, and her face felt hot. If it weren't for the warm glow of the sunset, Nan Shen would surely notice how red she was from embarrassment. Listen, I have something important to say. Even though Nan Shen was enjoying every second of Tan Hua's flustered expression, he had to stay focused on his confession plan. The timing was perfect. He just needed to say it needed to reassure her that her secret was safe with him. If she rejected him, at least he would have finally told her how he felt. He could always chase after her again later. Yes? Seeing Nan Shen's eyes suddenly turn serious, Tan Hua instinctively flinched. He was still holding her hand, and now he was looking straight into her eyes, telling her he had something important to say.